Hello and welcome to December 2023's What the Heck is Going On in the Denver Housing Market. This is exciting because it's the last update of 2023, and in this video I'm going to break down and simplify three things. Number one, where is the Denver housing market literally today? Number two, three things to know for buyers and sellers, even if you're just thinking about buying or selling, so you can win. And then the third thing I'm going to cover is my predictions for the next few months. In these market updates, I like to show some numbers to show the data I'm using. Then I'm also going to break down my opinion on the story the numbers are telling, and I'm going to keep those things very simple. So if you like numbers, I got them for you. And if you're like, just tell me what the numbers mean, I got you as well. If you are new to my channel, my name is Torrey Drake. I'm a local Denver realtor. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the Denver housing market, feel free to reach out. My contact information is below, and we can have a no pressure, no BS conversation about what you'd like to do. Okay, so I actually am going to go ahead and pull up a chart here, and some of these charts may look confusing at first, but I'm going to go ahead and break down once again exactly what they. Okay, so here is where we are at today in our housing market here. Once again, I'm going to break down all these numbers here. The first thing I want you to look at is closed homes is down by about 16%. That reflects about 16% less buyers in the market due to not only the holiday season, but also rising rates. Over here, new listings down, we'll just say 29%. That means less sellers in the market. Surprise, surprise. Sellers don't really feel like selling a home during the holidays. They want to be with family and not have people in and out of the house. And they don't want to sell during a high interest rate season. Because of that, our days to sell on average went up to 22 days. So on average, homes are selling in 22 days. That's still pretty darn quick, especially compared to smaller places, the rest of the country. But for a major metro like Denver, that's a pretty high days to sell. So yeah, you can still sell a home pretty quickly. Now over here, you can see home values went down 2.7%. Now here's why that's interesting, is because we want to compare that to year over year. Where were we this time last year? There's a whole lot of numbers here, but only one I really want to bring your attention to, and that's right here, close price average. And you can see year over year, right below where the red mark is, we're up 0.4% from last year. Now, I'm not saying that because that's such an impressively big number. I'm saying that how remarkable is our market because we're, wow, if I could speak. How remarkable is our Denver housing market that despite seeing 20-year high interest rates, despite one of the biggest slowdowns we've seen in recent history, we didn't lose value year over year. Our values are still up, and we're about to go into our busy season, so I see no reason why we would be losing value anytime soon. So that really speaks to the strength of our market, that yeah, we saw some depreciation here in December. That's pretty normal. But despite that, year over year, we are still up. So overall, what's happening right now today, there's less buyers in the market, less sellers in the market, and home prices have come down a little bit from the past couple of months, but year over year, they are still up. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about where I think we're going to go in 2024, but I'm going to save that to the end. That's the third part of these videos. Let's dive into three things to know if you are a potential home buyer or seller here in Denver. Number one, the median list to sold price ratio is 98.56. We'll just say 98.5%. What that means is on average, sellers are getting about 98.5% of their asking price. If you're a seller, that means if you're priced well, is a reasonable expectation that you might have to make a price adjustment if a buyer comes in and offers a tad below asking price, if it's still a reasonable offer and the price and terms are still work for you. If you are a buyer, that means you might be able to get a property for below list price, but you probably aren't going to crush the seller and get like 10% off, 5% off, 7% off when the median is about 98.5%. Overall, every situation, home, neighborhood is unique, but right now homes are selling for below their asking price on average, which shows that buyers and sellers are coming together and working together to make deals happen. Thing to know number two is that mortgage purchase applications went up 16% in November. What that means is there's a whole lot of buyers in November and December applying for mortgages, getting ready to buy into the new year, which is going to make a really competitive environment with a lot of buyers coming back into the market. So mortgage applications up. For buyers, that means you might have more competition. For sellers, that means more buyers are getting ready to buy in the spring market. And last but not least, the median days to sell is 22. I talked about that in the first part of the video, but I want to highlight it again because buyers, that means you do have more time to look at homes, but 22 days is not a whole lot. So if you see a home you really like, don't take your time with it. See it as soon as you reasonably can, and don't be slow to write an offer if it is the right home for you. Don't rush yourself by any means, but keep in mind that just because our market is slowing down, it's not like homes are taking 40, 50, 60, 70 days to sell. Great homes still sell pretty darn quickly if they're priced appropriately. By the way, guys, if you are digging the video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It's a cheesy ask, but it means a lot. Let's go ahead and dive into my predictions for where we're going to go in 2024, because I have some very strong thoughts and opinions backed by data. Let's jump into it. So where do I think our housing market is going to go in 2024? I'm going to show you just two charts. It's going to give you a lot of perspective on where we're going to go. This is a chart of new listings, so when do new properties hit the market in Denver, going all the way back to 2014 to basically today. Now, what you can see first off is that's very consistent. I just want you to look at the green bar here. That's all homes in Denver, attached and detached. We have a very consistent market, and consistently the lowest amount of new listings is right around November and January. I won't zoom in, just take my word for it. The small numbers down there in November and January is when all these bottoms are at. Now, right when these start to pick up pretty much every single time is in January and February. So January and February, we see a launch of new listings that just keeps building and building and building. And all of these peaks are basically around July and August. So what that means for you as a potential buyer or seller, buyers are going to have more and more options going into January and February, with your peak amount of choices being around July or August. For sellers, that means you're going to have more and more competition the more into spring and summer that we go into. Now this next chart here is average close price, which is a chart of showing you when prices tend to go up the most in Denver. Again, this is going from 2014 to basically where we are now. Now, once again, we can see pretty darn consistent. And what we can see here is that home values at the bottom, basically, of each one of these years coincides pretty darn well with November, December, and January. That's when we see home values go down. Remember, we saw 2.7% depreciation this month, and this chart is basically showing the same thing happening year after year after year. So going in 2024, that's when home values start to pick up. All these numbers start to go up going into January and February, because more listings are hitting the market. More listings is more options. Buyers are excited about more options, more buyers in the market, more bidding wars. So homes are selling for great prices. So sellers are like, I want to sell my house too. And the cycle repeats itself over and over. So what this chart tells us is that if you're a seller, timing to be in the January, February, springtime market going into summer at the latest is a great time to sell. And then if you're a buyer, you're going to have more options going into the new year in spring and summer. However, with the new year and more options brings more competition, and home prices likely going up. Well, that was the last market update for Denver this year. I once again bring these every single month, so if you like knowing what is going on in our housing market, click like and subscribe. And once again, if I can be helpful in any way, my contact information is below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.